Good afternoon, St. Luke's. It's Pastor Ben. I just wanted to bring you a quick devotional and a couple of updates of what's going around at St. Luke's this week. The devotional this morning is going to come out of Isaiah 43. So if you have a Bible, if you have a way to Google it, I encourage you to open that up. But Isaiah is one of the prophetic books, and prophets had this funny habit of having to speak during difficult times. Prophets were not known to come during easy times. In fact, they came during periods of great upheaval, whether it was slavery or famine or war, and prophets had to bring a word of hope in the midst of that. And so Isaiah chapter 43 is God speaking, but it's God speaking into the lives of the Israelites as they're going through these difficulties. And I'm going to start with verse 1 and 2. It says, "But now this is what the Lord says. He who created you, Jacob, he who formed you, Israel, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name, and you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze." Verse 2 is a really interesting passage because it speaks into difficulty, right? Notice nowhere does God say it's not going to be hard. In fact, it says when you pass through waters, when you pass through rivers, when you walk through fires. The assurance that God gives is not that difficulty is not going to come. The assurance that God gives is that you're going to make it through. Right? He says, when you pass through waters, I will be with you. When you pass through rivers, they won't sweep over you. When you walk through fires, you will not be burned. Right? The assurance is that above everything else, no matter how hard it gets, right, we'll make it. It's kind of the hope we cling to as Christians, especially as we move closer to Easter, is even when it's difficulty, when there's rivers and fires and all sorts of anxiety, that we will pass through because of God's grace. But backing it up to the very end of verse 1, he says, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you." And I love this part because he doesn't just say, "Do not fear, for I have redeemed you." He doesn't leave it with an open-ended you. It's not a plural you. It's not a Texas y'all. But he says, "I have summoned you by name, and you are mine." Right, those are words to remember right now. God's not speaking in generalities. God's not saying, "I've redeemed all of you." God's not saying, "I've redeemed y'all." God is reminding Isaiah and the Israelites in this passage that God has redeemed you, has called you, has carried you, and is still going to do that. So I encourage you to remember these words over the next couple of days, that not only do you not have to be afraid because God is there, but you don't have to fear because God has called you by name. A couple of quick updates of what's going on around the church. We still have all of our events canceled through the first week of April, so nothing is going to be happening on the church campus, but we are going to be working to bring you more information and more events through Facebook Live. So I would encourage you, if you haven't liked St. Luke's Facebook page, to like that one, to like the St. Luke's Youth page and the St. Luke's Children's page. There will be information on all of them, as well as videos from the staff members, from church members. It'll be a great way to stay connected. This week, there will be a devotional posted every morning at 10 a.m. from someone around the church, bringing you a little bit of an uplifting moment for the day with some more updates. Wednesday, we will have Bible study at 6 o'clock. On Sunday, we will have worship at 8:30 and 10:30 that will be live streaming, and Children's Church will be live streaming as well at 9:30. So I encourage you to keep checking back, check your emails, and we'll continue sending out more information. If you have any prayer requests, any questions, any comments, you can comment on this video. You can call the church office and leave a message, or you can send us an email. Until next time, I'll be praying for you.